For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Transformers The Last Knight video. This is a very interesting one because today we will not just be doing like a review of The Last Knight, I did that already. We're not doing any sort of rankings or comparisons with other movies. No. Today we will be doing Transformers The Last Knight compared to Transformers The Last Knight. So, for those of you who don't know, and if you did know, then, hats off to you, because you gotta be an OG, is back in 2017, there was the version of The Last Knight that was released to most theaters, and that is the version that we have today. Any sort of DVD, Blu-ray, streaming service, whatever it is, that is the version that you will have. However, there was an earlier version that was released to some parts of the world. Now, I don't know if it was China, Japan, friggin' Korea, and I don't know where it was, right? But they got a different version of The Last Knight. And I remember that Alex, Rage Nation, of course, shout out to him, absolute legend. I remember that he did a video on this. He did a video on it. However, I have tried for so long to try and find this video, but I have not been able to find it. But yes, he did this same thing that I'm about to do. And that is he went through the differences, or at least the big differences, between this alternate version of The Last Knight compared to the version that we finally got. So, without further ado, let's get into the differences that Transformers The Last Knight experienced. And it's not just dialogue, in some cases it is literally just whole scenes or even just 2-second clips. And I don't really know why these were changed, but I'm gonna go through it anyway. Starting off with the beginning of the movie, it's basically just some fighting, really. It's not a whole lot of stuff that's going on, but yeah, it is mainly just fighting. I mean, I'm playing the footage now. Obviously this is not all, there's footage here that's in the movie, but there's some extended bits. There was this random explosion that wasn't in the movie. Although I'm pretty sure the bit of the the guy hitting the glass was in the film, I think. There is one scene which I haven't been able to find, but it's when the Decepticons land at Cade's junkyard. It's when Nitro Zeus lands and Mohawk says, they got up out of here. In the movie version, I believe Nitro Zeus says, unfortunate, because I was looking to knock some heads, or something like that.
Megatron, they got up out of here.
Unfortunate, because I was looking to knock some heads.
And then in the alternate version of the movie, the mouth moves the same, right? Nothing on the CGI changed, but the dialogue was different. He says, I kicked more ass in prison. Again, such a minor change that I'm not sure why they would do it. There was this extended chase of the drone that was chasing Kane and them, which realistically, I don't think anyone cared for in the first place, so I'm glad that they cut this. There is this slightly extended bit of humans fighting in the World War II sequence just before Bumblebee transforms. And look, I could be wrong, but I don't remember the guy coming out of Bumblebee's boot in the final version of the movie. There is this random line in the middle of this conversation, obviously where Cade and Vivian are arguing, and we get to this.
We're just having a conversation about your sex life.
Yeah, which is...
What is this? Some sort of a...
I'm honestly so happy that they cut that line, because that is just completely useless to the plot. Then there's this military sequence, which I honestly don't even know if it was in the movie, but it looks familiar. If, probably just is a bit extended, because that's, I believe, when they learned that Bumblebee and them are in London. They did slightly extend the whole Cogman and Hot Rod and Bee chase sequence, which I thought that would have been pretty cool. Of course, extended scenes are always welcome in action sequences. But now we get to the one that I have been waiting for. And honestly, when I think of this alternate version of the movie, this is the first bit that comes to mind. And that is when Prime is done being Nemesis Prime and all this, right? And he gets jumped by Nitro, Zeus, and Megatron, the dialogue is very different. Because in the current version of the movie, Nitro Zeus says, "You blew your chance to kill Unicron." And then Megatron goes and takes a staff, and he's like, "I knew you couldn't do it. Your time is over, Prime. You failed. You turned your back on Cybertron. Now you will watch Earth die."
You blew your chance to kill Unicron. I knew you couldn't do it. Your time is over, Prime. You failed.
That last bit, that you turned your back on Cybertron, that stays the same in this alternate version. However, over here, Nitro Zeus says absolutely nothing. Again, much like earlier, his character moves the same. They did not change anything VFX-wise here. It is only the dialogue. Instead, Megatron does all the talking, and he says, "Quintessa, the most ruthless of our gods, knew you couldn't do it. She knows I'm strong and you're weak."
Quintessa, the most ruthless of our gods, knew you couldn't do it. She knows I'm strong and you're weak.
Now, don't get me wrong, of course, I really like having Megatron just basically praise Quintessa, basically saying, like, she is the most ruthless of our gods, which, no, well, not really praising her, but you know what I mean. But I do kind of prefer the dialogue that we get in the actual movie, because it is less cheesy. I don't really see this version of Megatron saying, "She knows I'm strong and you're weak." That's like such a childish bit of dialogue. It's horrific. So I am very happy that they changed it for the actual film. And ironically, the next bit happens literally like 10 or 15 seconds after that. And that is when the Guardian Knights just jump Prime, which, by the way, awesome scene. And it's when the Knights are basically shaming him, essentially. The one says, "Quintessa is the great deceiver." And that stays in the movie. That stays in the final version. But what doesn't stay in the final version is the knight that I believe hits Optimus with the axe. He says, "She put you under a spell."
Quintessa is the great deceiver.
Which, gonna be honest with you, much like the bit before, although more so with this, so happy they removed this bit of dialogue in the movie. In the movie, it's nothing. The knight just hits Prime. Doesn't say anything. Because here, them saying, "She put you under a spell," completely defeats the point of them going to kill him. They're going to kill him because they think that he betrayed Cybertron. And, basically, well, he just, not betrayed Cybertron, but he was bad, right? I'm so sorry for stuttering, it is late. But yeah, them acknowledging that he was put under a spell is basically them being like, "We know that you were controlled and you weren't thinking, but you still did bad stuff, so we're gonna kill you for it." So I'm happy that they did not keep that in the film.
Quintessa is the great deceiver. She put you under a spell.
And there is this one shot of Dragonstorm, but it is not just Dragonstorm, it shows Optimus riding Dragonstorm. Now, again, happy they didn't include this, because the scene of when Prime shows up in the final battle is just probably the best moment in The Last Knight. Because by this point, we hadn't seen Prime in a while. And then he just shows up riding on Dragonstorm in this awesome epic moment. It would have been kind of lackluster if they had shown him riding Dragonstorm in like a really quick zoomed out image for like 2 seconds, So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy.
Grab your suits, we're failing!
Then there is a scene basically in the final battle, where we see Optimus hit Quintessa with a sword, and she says in the final film, "You traitor." But in the extended version, she says, "Nemesis, you traitor." Then, of course, we get the whole "say hello to my friend, Bumblebee," and then B shoots her, and the scream does sound different to the one in the final version of the movie. And in the final version of the film, Bumblebee says, "Sting like a bee." But then in the new version, he says, "I sting like a bee." So yeah, again, tiny difference. But I do kind of prefer this alternate version.
Nemesis, you traitor!
I sting like a bee.
Tessa, get off our planet!
You traitor!
Sting like a bee.
Oh, it's raining. That's nice. And then the final difference that I could find was, well, it is dialogue-wise, is that in the final scene of the movie, essentially, after all is said and done, just before Prime's speech, in the final cut of the movie, B leans down to Cade, and he bumps his chest, right? And then Cade does the same thing towards him. However, in the alternate version, B does that, and he says, "You saved Prime." Editing Chabet here. Turns out I got my facts wrong. Forgive me. But in the real, the final cut of the movie, that is where B says, "You saved Prime." And in the alternate version, he doesn't say it. He just bumps his chest. So what I'm about to say still stands, but I'm just saying that part I did get wrong. I do apologize. Please continue. Which, I don't know, saying it now, I feel like doesn't really work. Because obviously, I know it's referring to when Cade saved his life with the talisman, right, with Excalibur. But I feel like that was just so long ago. I feel like he should have said that before the final battle had begun. I feel like that would have been way better. And then, just sort of kept this bumping the chest, but the same as it was in the final cut of the movie. So, yeah. Overall, guys, the differences are very, very minor, and it's not anything that changes the plot of the film. It is merely just dialogue changes, maybe adding a word or two words, or in the case of Megatron taking the star from Prime, a whole entire sentence. So yes, that is essentially my breakdown of all of the important bits of the alternate version of Transformers: The Last Knight, because everything I didn't include was maybe just an explosion or like a 1 second camera cut or like 2 seconds of shooting. That's literally it. So yeah, I think that those are all of the big important differences. So please let me know what you guys think of this whole extended, it's not extended cut, it's deleted sequences, really, down in the comment section below. Are there any scenes here that you think are better than what we had in the final movie? Because I know people love to crap on The Last Knight. I genuinely think that apart from the "I sting like a bee," I think I prefer every single thing in the final cut of the film. So yeah, just anything and everything, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.